All right, Steeler fans, welcome back to the second half of the Steelers preview, where we're talking all about Steelers Jaguars Week 8. This game is going to be a lot of fun. Let's talk some over/under. It's the most fun time of the show, as some would say. Maybe that's just me. Anyways, Dave, looking at last week's, yikes!
It was not good.
No, it wasn't.
I lost my totals. I don't have my other notebook.
Good.
I know I was
Let's
up.
Start over.
No, we're not starting over. But no, you guys had a chance to make up some ground on me. I only got one right.
I probably didn't have more than that.
You had two, and so did Brian.
Oh,
well, and the one that we got right, we all picked. That was Pickett yards. We were under.
What do we have? The under of 255.5?
Yeah.
Okay. So Kenny Pickett.
That's the only one I got right.
He only had one. We had KPA touchdowns, 1.5. No,
and the one time I just disagreed with Brian because I said I was tired of agreeing with him so much. Of course, I lost, and he got
Steelers.
That one right.
Steelers takeaways 1.5. They had one. The Rams sacks.
And you took the under.
They had 2 sacks, right? And I said 1.5. And then Steelers, they only had 2 sacks.
They only had 2 sacks. So we all three of us took the over.
All right.
Yep.
So we don't know the totals yet. That's fine.
No, well, I'll have it for the. I'm pretty sure it was like 16, 12, and 11, or that might have been the week before.
Something like that.
But it was something. No, it would have been the week before. It was the bye week. So I'm pretty sure it's 17, 14, and 13 is my guess right off the top of my head. But I'll confirm that for next time.
Okay, we have 5 fresh ones here for you. Over/under game. If you're first time listening or watching, it's simple. I state the line, and we have to pick over or under. And sometimes we get these people that comment and say, how can a guy throw a half of a touchdown? Okay, in gambling terms, it's called the hook, so that you can't have a push or a tie. So you're forced to get over or under. That's why it says 1.5 touchdowns. That's why there's the half. Just to explain that for those people that might not understand it. Okay, let's start this off where we always do. Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett passing touchdowns. Specific to passing touchdowns, the line is at 1.5. Brian, what you got?
I'm going over. I think he's getting 2 this week. It happened this year, so let's go 2.
All right, Dave, what do you think?
I'm gonna go. Why did I write under for my name? My name is Dave. Sorry. I'm gonna go under just because I think. You know what? No, I'm changing my mind. I'm going over. The Jags are really good against the run, very bad against the pass. So if I think the Steelers are going to go, not that they can't run in on them, to finish it off, I'm going to assume that they're going to get them through the air. So I'll go over as well.
I was going to go over before Dave even, or should I call him under, before he even picked. So I'm going to go over. I think 2 is a good number. Maybe 3. First time in his career, he gets 3.
I should change my back to the under. It's probably. I'm talking myself into it.
Let's go with Najee Jerome Harris, his rushing yards. I've got it. This some people might think it's a little high. I think they're going to give it to him a lot. 65.5. 65.5 rushing yards. Brian?
My gosh, what's happening to me? I'm going to say over. Barely, but over.
Okay. What about you, Dave?
Jags got a really good run defense. I'm going under. I think that I'm even thinking the Steelers could go over 100 rushing yards, but I think it's going to be split more between the 2 backs.
When I see that last week they were almost even split, Jaylen Warren, Najee Harris, in terms of snaps, I think he's going to be under in this game because of that. So unless they change their philosophy and start to think like he's going to be the back, I'm going to go slightly under. I think he's going to be around 60, but I think he's going to have a good performance. I hope that Jaylen Warren contributes as well. I'm going to go under. Let's go with George Pickens receiving yards. I've got that number, and some might say it's a little low, but you just don't know when Deontay Johnson's going to get all of his stuff together if he plays even. 87.5 is the over-under for George Pickens. Brian, what do you have?
Wow. I mean, George has gone over 103 times this year, right? And
I think so.
And
at least twice.
He has superstar potential. You know what? Gosh, seriously? Let's say yes. Let's say he goes over.
Okay. Yeah, I took the over too. I don't know that it hit 100, but I think he could get in the 90s.
I think he goes over based on the fact that, their weakness is the passing game. So as long as the Steelers can hold up and pass protection, I think they will have some
Unless his
opportunities
bulletin
now.
board material comes back to haunt
Oh,
him.
you talking about him saying that they have a hope defense?
You know what? The Steelers kind of do too.
Yeah, well, a lot of teams do.
Teams with a good pass rush, that's what you do. You hope you get home in time, that the defense hope they hold up long enough for them to do what they do up front.
That is one of those where if you watch and listen to him say those comments, it is as a giant nothing burger. But if you read
As
them,
Trevor Lawrence's was.
oh, exactly. Yeah, the
Yeah.
little towels or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like I watched him like, yeah, I don't think it's that bad. Like he just said the little yellow towels. Who cares?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one. Deontay Johnson targets. I couldn't. I wanted to look up last week and I forgot, but I'm going to go 6.5. 6.5 targets for Deontay Johnson. Brian,
I'm going to go over. That's just if he plays. If he doesn't
Good point.
play,
if he doesn't play, this is nullified.
All right,
this
good.
is nullified. The whole
All
bet
right.
is off. So it's just
Thank
like if
you.
you're gambling on a game and somehow
We will cancel the bet before the game starts.
Very
Yes,
good.
if
After
he doesn't play.
Yeah.
So assuming that he plays, Brian, what is yours?
absolutely over. My gosh, I'm over king right now.
Yeah,
I'm the
you're
king of
hammering
wishful thinking, Dave. I'm
Yeah.
go west.
You're
Yeah.
hammering the over. You're in the over.
I'm
spot. Okay.
hammering you over on this one too. If he plays, I think he'll get. 7 targets. I think he can reach that. I think it'll be more around 8 or 9.
I'm going to go over as well. Did anyone know what he had last week by chance? Targets?
I don't remember, but I can find it within the next 30
7
seconds.
or 8.
Yeah, it was.
So-
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know. Brian Brown, this is not a purple shirt. It's maroon. Anyways, some might call it slightly.
I'd like to
purple.
see you with a unibrow though.
He had 6 last week.
Oh, okay. All right, let's go with I should have done that. Dang it. Okay. Pittsburgh defensive sacks.
You can do
Gannon.
6 if you want to. We did it one week, so
Yeah, come on, Jeff.
It's up
Okay,
to you.
I'll write it down. Hold on, we'll do the next. Pittsburgh
Okay.
defensive sacks. I only have it at 2.5. Now, there's something about. Go ahead and make your picks, but I feel like this is easy money. Brian, what do you think?
I'm going to go ahead and say under.
Okay.
Well, I'll go opposite of Brian. I'm going to go over because TJ Watt got shut out last week, so I have a feeling he's going to get at least 2 himself.
I'm going to go over again on my show. Jeremy Betts. I don't know if this is accurate or not. Dave, maybe you saw this statistic somewhere. Any game in TJ Watt's career where he was shut out, or I don't know if it's this season or career, he gets at least 2 sacks the next game or something like that. It's insane.
So there's
he
one
get-
time he was shut out back to back, but I saw that. I saw that from Jeremy Betts on Twitter.
he could be lying. He could be
He
lying to all
could
of
be,
us.
but yeah.
All right, so
We
let's
both
do
saw
the
it, but
sixth.
it's the same source. Yeah.
Let's do the 6th. Here we go. Deontay Johnson touchdowns, 0.5. Brian, over under.
It's happening this week. He's got it over. He's got it. It's the streak is ending. DJ,
I'm going
in
with
the
it
end
too.
zone for 6.
I agree. I'll take the over on that one as well.
Under. No, he doesn't get it.
Yep. Well, Jeff, you just made up a point on both of us. So
What's that?
you just made up a point on both of us.
I saw someone said in the live chat, like, Deontay's going to get a touchdown. I was like, dang it, I should have said Deontay Johnson touchdowns at 0.5 until he actually scores. I did that a bunch last season, but I don't know. Okay, there's the over-under game. We'll keep you up to speed with all of that good stuff. Let's talk about the game coming up and our predictions. The line that I have, it might have moved since this, but the line that I have is the Steelers are getting 2.5 points at home, and the total is 42 points. The sports books do not see this being a high-scoring affair. So with that being said, Brian, why don't you go ahead and give us your score prediction and how you think it's going to go?
Well, I'm going to say right away, 27-26 is going to be the final score. So let's go ahead and give me the over here.
What
Now,
was the score?
27-26.
Oof,
So that would be
yikes.
53.
Steelers
It's-
winning?
It's going to be a close. I'm going to discuss that right now,
Oh.
Jeff.
Jeez.
So I've got the build up. Now, I'm one of those people that I usually think I'm pretty reasonable until somebody rankles me, and you can ask my family that I just do things out of spite. So, do I believe that the Steelers could win this game? Absolutely. I really think they can. This is a good matchup. This is the kind of game that they're going to win. but I made a promise last week, and I don't break my promises because somebody really ticked me off by saying Jeff is the only good Steeler fan on this show because he picked the Steelers.
It's about time someone recognized that.
Yeah, and you're the only true Steeler fan.
Where most reasonable people realize that Jeff is the only fool because he picks them every
Yeah, he picks them every week.
Look, when they win, I look like a damn genius.
So you're good. You're right about half the time.
I'm 4-2 this year.
If you're going to Vegas and you're going to bet your house on what Brian Anthony Davis has to say, then man, I'm sorry, because I do this for fun. I do this for superstition a lot. I love superstition. I know that when I bet against the Steelers, that they win. They do better off winning. I know that in my FanDuel last week, I took both Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford, and they killed me. And I did that because there's this part in my brain thinking that I can control this game. I am that narcissistic. I am that kind of guy delusional that thinks that I can control the outcome of this game. I'm the same man that after losing 6 games in a row back in glory years of the Steelers in the 2000s had a ceremony to burn his pants and they started winning again. So I am that guy that thinks that I and my clothes and my opinions could change the fortune of the Steelers. So you know what? I think the Steelers can win this game, but there's one thing that you can't question about me. And you can question a lot of things. You could question my taste in hair. You could definitely do that. You can question a lot of my regular decision making, but you will never, if you question the fact that I am not a diehard Steeler fan because of opinion I make on the show, then you don't know me. So Jaguars 27, Steelers 26, and I'm going to probably do it all year now.
There you go. Let's go to another non-Steeler fan, Dave Schofield. What's your prediction for the
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's really interesting. I would just say this: if all three of us pick the Steelers every game, every week, you might as well just turn this off. This section of the show off every time. I don't think that's what you're here for. I'm really torn about this one. I've been back and forth because so many things I could say, oh, well, this is why the Jaguars, blah, blah, blah. Oh, this is why the Steelers. This is why, all those various things. And when it really comes down to it, this prediction, I'm going to do the anti-Mike Tomlin. I'm going to do the anti-Mike Tomlin, which is, hey, he wasn't worried about, how they were already going to be getting ready for the next week on Thursday night, going into a short week. It's, hey, one game at a time. That's how it goes. I'm not doing that. If you look at the Steelers' schedule, now they had the bye week. They won one going into their bye week, and they won one coming out. They now have 3 home games. That's going to finish up the second quarter of their season, if you say the first 5 games of the first quarter, because it was before the bye. Are the Steelers going to go 4-0 in that quarter? I would say with this team and the way they play, chances are one of them's going to get away from them. And if you were going to look at all these games, which one would be that one? I think it's going to be the Jacksonville game. Do I believe that the Steelers are going to win 7 games in a row or so? I wouldn't bet my house on that. I wouldn't parlay that one. I'll tell you that for sure. But they could still possibly do it. If the Pittsburgh Steelers find a way to win this game, this is going to be lookout NFL. Because if this team goes to 5-2 and then has the next 2 games that they have, which I don't want to get ahead too much, but my goodness, if they win this one, they should be favored in the next couple of weeks before they're back to AFC North football. When there anything can happen, and the Steelers have come through in the right way on those lately. So this is where, if you look at the season, you're like, well, you have one game in there that might have been the blip. I'm calling this one the blip. I couldn't decide one way or the other, but there was 2 factors that pushed me one way. And that is, one, the Jaguars coming off of the mini bye, which I think does not look as well for the Steelers. And 2, someone think that you have to pick the Steelers every week to be a fan, which is just moronic. So that's why I'm going with a very similar score to Brian. I'm going 27-23 Jaguars, so I don't have them covering. My thing is just having a close game in this one. That the Steelers have won their close games and lost their blowouts. I think this is one of those where it's a close one that they just can't get it done. It might even be that they're down by a bunch and they just can't get back far enough. Who knows how it's going to play out? But man, oh man, if they can find a way to win this game, this is going to be really big rolling into November. If the Steelers are 5-2, looking at what their schedule is.
Yeah. So as the self-elected Steeler fan of the group, I will go ahead and predict that.
I already have it written in. I just need to know if it's over or under.
The Steelers are going to win. That's what my prediction is. I'm sick of trying to explain this team because you can't explain this team. You can sit here and put yourself in a mental pretzel over it. I saw enough at the end of the game with the offense. I'm hoping that continues. I think the defense will be strong. They're at home. I think they win. Final score, Steelers 23, the Jacksonville Jaguars 20. That's what I have. So 23.
So you just have the Jags with one less touchdown than what I have. Other than that, we have the same score.
Pretty much, yeah. And I have the Steelers having to come back in the fourth quarter to win it. There you go.
So that's an over, right?
By 1.
So for those of you out there paying attention to the word of the day here on the Steelers preview is over, because we took the over on almost everything throughout this.
That's true. Yeah, so shocker. Jeff picks the Steelers to win. Let's hope that pans out for him. Let's do some trivia here. Brian, do you have some?
Yeah, I have. This is one of my favorite all-time trivias. So I know Dave could have looked and he could have tried, but this might be a tough one. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Jacksonville Jaguars, they have shared players since the very beginning because the Jacksonville Jaguars had that expansion draft in 1995 to get started, and they had a few Steelers players. But both the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Jacksonville Jaguars boast having a father and son on both of their rosters at one time. And now keep in mind, if you're talking
at the same time, right?
Not at the same time, no.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
No, but if you keep in mind, 1995 was probably around when the father was playing. So one of them was fairly recent. The son was fairly recent. Who is the father and son duo? They have the same initials, by the way. It's not a junior situation. It's not the same person.
Both father and son played for Steelers and Jaguars.
Yes.
So the father played for both teams, the son played for both teams.
The father and son played for both Pittsburgh and Jacksonville.
Okay. So I'm just trying to think of players, father and sons that both played for Pittsburgh.
Well, I'm trying to think of players that played for both, like Carnell Lake did.
Yep.
Did Jason Gilden go down to Jacksonville?
Jason Gilden, yes. He went to Jacksonville right after his stint with Pittsburgh.
Leon Searcy. But these aren't players that I'm just trying to think of anyone that was a father son both played for the Steelers. Calvin Beecham played for both. I can't even think of a father son combo for the Steelers.
Played for both, yes.
Yeah,
but he's not the answer.
Yeah.
Someone in the live chat said Miles Jack. I don't even know if Miles Jack's father played in the NFL, but he played.
Miles Jack's still in his 20s, I think.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He's also retired.
I'm saying, yeah.
Oh, okay.
If Miles Jack, had a father that played in the NFL, yeah.
His dad, not Miles Jack's son, is in the league, obviously.
Yeah. Joe Schobert wasn't the son of somebody, was he?
I'm going to give you a very bad hint. It's not going to help, but there's royalty involved here.
No clue.
It's king, queen, or prince.
Well, it's not in the name, but Jeff used to call one of these players king.
Why don't you just tell us who it is?
More like the Pokemon King.
Oh.
Marsh.
Curtis and Cassius Marsh played for both the Steelers and the Jaguars.
I didn't even know Cassius Marsh's dad played the NFL.
Curtis Marsh was a receiver for the Steelers.
Yeah.
I love this. I love that.
That's a
trivia.
good one. You could have given me a long time.
There's no way in hell I would have ever gotten that. I would have been here for another 2 hours. Like, can you just tell me the answer? Because I don't know.
But that's a good
trivia.
one.
Good one. All right, Dave, you're up. Go ahead.
All right. I don't know what inspired me to do this. Well, I do know what did. It was one particular stat of, Kenny Pickett having his, game-winning drive, fourth quarter comeback, all that good stuff. And I thought to myself, Kenny Pickett, he's now started 18 games in the NFL. And of course, although I don't feel like it's always fair to compare him, who's Kenny Pickett always going to get compared to? He's going to get compared to Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah. So we're going to play a little quick game here. It's called 7 or 8. And I want you to tell me through the first 18 regular season starts of both players who had more or less, depending on how I ask the question. Who's the answer? Is it 7 or 8? So I'll start off with an easy one. Okay. Through their first 18 regular season games, who had more wins? 7 or 8?
7.
And Brian's muted, so I assume he's going to say that.
I'm going to go ahead and say 7 as well.
Yes, because Ben Roethlisberger had won 17 out of his first 18, where Kenny Pickett had only won 11. If we had more time, I was going to play a Price is Right game with the next one, but I won't. Passing yards through 18 games. Who had more passing yards? 7 or 8?
8.
7.
Brian goes 7. Jeff goes 8. The winner here would be one Jefferson Bartholomew Hartman. It would be one Kenneth Shane Pickett. Has more passing yards through his first 18 starts. Remember? Wow. Starts. Yeah. And what's interesting is they have the same digits, but they're in a different order. I was going to do, like a Price is Right game where you have the 4 digits. You got to figure out the price. Because Roethlisberger was 3,451, where Pickett is 3,541. That's the way it goes. So, who has more completions through 18 games?
8.
I'm going to go ahead and say 8 as well.
That is correct. It is 8. He does have more completions. How about 102 more completions?
He's so a lot more. I know that.
A lot more completions. Yep. Who has a higher completion percentage? 7 or 8?
7.
That is correct. 7 had 65.3 through his first 18 starts, where Kenny Pickett had 62.0. Touchdowns. Passing touchdowns.
7.
7.
Yeah, he had twice as many. 24-12.
Jeez.
This is through 18 games. Okay. Interceptions. Who had more?
8.
I'm going to say 7.
Push. It's the same. They both had 10.
Okay.
So yeah, I threw it in there just because I had to. Okay, it was fun. How about quarterback rating?
7.
Yeah, 7.
You're correct. 105.1 versus 79.8 wasn't even all that close. Who has been sacked? Let's go ahead and keep it with the big numbers. Who was sacked more? 7 or 8 through their first 18 regular season starts?
I'm going to say 7.
That's who I'm leaning. I'm leaning it's a 7 as well.
Ben Roethlisberger was sacked 37 times through his first 18 starts, but that's still less than Kenny Pickett's 43.
Wow.
Yep. And how about rushing yards? 7 or 8?
I say 7.
I'm going to go 8.
It's actually 8 by a good bit. Ben Roethlisberger had 176. Kenny Pickett has 234. How about rushing touchdowns?
8.
7.
Well, once again, you're kind of both right to push. Because it's in games that they started, and the 2 that Kenny Pickett had against the Jets did not count. He has 2. Roethlisberger has 2. If not, it'd have been 8.
Wow.
Okay. Because these are only in their starts. I filtered out. It was just games they started. 2 more. I'm going to kind of do them together. Fourth quarter comebacks and game-winning drives.
8.
I'm going to go
both.
8.
On both.
Are you going for the push?
Oh. It's a push for both of them.
Wow.
Oh, so Jeff got
through
that, right?
8. Yeah. So through 18 games, 18 regular season starts, because I wasn't counting Ben Roethlisberger postseason. I didn't think that was fair. Because that's higher competition. Anyway, that's just the way they do the stats. They each had 5 fourth quarter comebacks and 6 game-winning drives. Now, Kenny Pickett did it in less wins. So Kenny Pickett has had a game-winning drive in more than half of his wins as a starter. And think, one of those wins as a starter, he wasn't even out there for it at the end because he got knocked out of that Baltimore game. No, wait. They lost that game.
They lost.
What was the one
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. That was the one that they won that he wasn't even out there for. So that is one thing that, and of course, Ben Roethlisberger got even better with that as his career went on, and he was good to start. Kenny Pickett is starting off on the right foot. I'm not saying Kenny Pickett's going to be a Ben Roethlisberger. It was just a nice little fun activity to do.
It's crazy, the similarities. It's really good to point that out. Really good to point that out.